What's up, guys? Today on the channel, we have a great guest, my good friend, CheckMateFlips, Seth. He does eBay to Amazon flips. He breaks down exactly what he does. He's done over $500,000 in the last 12 months. Crazy. He goes over the pros and cons of flipping from eBay to Amazon. He covers some mistakes that he made, what he'd do over again if he could go back into time. It's a really interesting model compared to mine. So kind of want to show you what he's up to, what he's doing, and how he's making really good money. His profit margins are pretty good. It's about like 30-40%. That's what he's shooting for. So definitely interesting. He tells you exactly what he does, how he would go about finding products if you wanted to start this. So lots of nuggets. Make sure to go follow him. He has a YouTube page and he also has Instagram, CheckMateFlips. It will be linked below for you guys. Enjoy this awesome video and I'll see you in the next one. What's up, guys? It is John from Side Hustle Experiment. I'm here with my friend Seth, CheckMateFlips on Instagram. He runs a pretty unique business. Both do online arbitrage. He does it a little differently than I do. So we're going to kind of get into how he runs his online business, what his business looks like, tools he's using, staff, all that kind of good stuff. So thanks for being here, Seth.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me, John.
Of course. So you want to give everyone a little background, how you got started reselling?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess I'll go all the way back. When I was in college, I played RuneScape, and in that game, you can buy and sell items. And again, you can buy low and sell high. And so I actually did that to kind of a ridiculous amount and spent like 4 or 5 years doing that and really got good at that and really enjoyed that. And it was ridiculous because it was a video game. And so a lot of times I tried to do it in real life. I tried using like OfferUp and Craigslist. Like I tried flipping snowboard gear, winter gear and stuff. And like it never really like worked out or made sense, or I didn't have the resources to like understand how to actually do it, because that was back in, I don't know, like 2013, 14, 15. So I just had no clue how to do it. But then I was in my master's program and my little brother came back from school for the summer and he's like, hey, I've been making another like $600 a month selling used clothing from eBay, on Depop. So basically he would thrift the clothes and he would sell them on Depop. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I mean, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. So can you show me how to do it? And he's like, yeah. So we went to the thrift store. Like I bought like my first maybe like 8 items, listed them, took pictures of them. Sales were really slow at the start. And I'm like, Paul, like, why am I not getting any sales? Like, it's been a month. And he's like, dude, like, you have 8 listings.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're right. Like, we had this other friend that started at the same time that I had, and he was getting a lot of sales. And I'm like, why am I not getting sales like he is? And he's like, you have 8 listings. So I'm like, all right, I need to like actually put my heart into this. So I did. Things started happening and moving, and I started understanding like I need to actually like look at some data before listing stuff. And like I was able to find a few like free clothing pickups and make some good money type of stuff. Eventually moved into eBay, which eventually I'm speeding up a lot here, but eventually moved into eBay, did that full time, wanted a side hustle, did books as my side hustle to my side hustle on Amazon FBA. And then that became the main thing and eventually transitioned into online arbitrage when restock limits happened. So I kind of fast forwarded a couple years there, but that's how I got into this.
I didn't realize you started selling clothing, actually. So when you started selling on Amazon, you started with used books, and then what made you, so you sell used items from eBay and you sell them on Amazon as used as well. So what made you go that route? I feel like I didn't really know of anyone doing it until like I met you, actually.
Really? Yeah. It's weird. I type it into YouTube and I just wanted to learn for myself. And there was like one video And it was like 7 minutes long. And I'm like, all right, there's nothing out here on this. So I'm trying to change that. But yeah, basically the way that I got into eBay to Amazon was I was doing an office clean out for my wife's parents. So my wife's parents, they own a business. They did own a business, and they retired last summer, and they were selling their office building. So at that point, I was doing regular retail arbitrage from Walmart's. I would go to Walmart. I was looking for a couple bolos. Like there were some car speakers that were like $140 profit. There was 22 ammo, just a bunch of.
Wow.
But they're like, hey, like we're closing out this office. Like we're gonna donate all this stuff. Like, do you want to take a look at this stuff and like help us move out, and you can keep the stuff and sell it if you want it. So I was like, okay, sure.
Wow, that's awesome.
A lot of printers. They had a lot of computer type stuff. They had
gold mines.
vintage electronic type stuff because they had been in that building for 20, 30 years at this point. So they just had so much random stuff. So I had free inventory, and I got to see when I sent this stuff in, like this stuff didn't sell very well. This was garbage. Never do this again. And then I also got to see this sold while it was inbound, and like, where can I get more? Because I want more of that stuff. And eBay was the place to get that stuff because a lot of this stuff was discontinued. So that's how I
Okay.
items.
Interesting. Yeah, and it's like funny that, obviously you just never know kind of when opportunity is gonna like pop up. If you're in the reselling game, if someone offers you something for free, it's usually a pretty good idea to take it because you just never know what the market might be. Worst comes to worst, you donate it yourself if you can't get off of it. You probably put just a post on Facebook Marketplace now, and someone else will kind of take it off your hands for a cheaper price. Would you recommend people start doing the eBay to Amazon?
I would say if you have resold for a decent amount of time, I would say you can transition into eBay to Amazon. But I have found that trying to start, if you've never resold a thing in your life, never done any Facebook Marketplace, it's not like you have to do Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Amazon Books or something first. But if you've done like some kind of reselling to be able to just like have second nature of like, I'm buying this for $10 and like after fees, this is what my profit's going to be. If that's like not second nature to you and it's not comfortable for you, then eBay to Amazon might not be the best thing because you do have to like put some money out there. And so potentially doing like Amazon FBA books first might be a better option. If you've been in the reselling game for a while and like feel good about it, eBay to Amazon is a really good way to kind of be in that middle ground between something like online arbitrage and wholesale and doing RA. I'd probably say it's a good middle ground there.
Cool. So what would you suggest, like if I wanted to get started doing eBay to Amazon outside of talking to you for like an hour, like sourcing together, what would you suggest like someone do? I know you could I think it would be different with storefront stocking, right? Because like you're looking at used tab, you're not really looking at the news. So you have to do a little more digging than most. So how would you kind of go about that, or how do you go about that process?
Yeah, definitely. Storefront stocking, you just do it a little bit different. You can still do it. It's a little bit different. I guess what I'm trying to say is Seller Amp, it doesn't show the used offers in the same way that it shows the new offers. So you just click into their storefront and look at their stuff. So storefront stocking is good if you know that you're on a profitable listing already that's used and people are getting it from Amazon. Like if you're trying to do storefront stocking with a guy who's like selling all grocery items, it's like, well, what are you doing? Like this is the wrong look. But if you start on a profitable lead, like something like a used TI-83 calculator or like some random docking station or something where there's like, you can see there's a market of people selling this used, storefront stocking those people who are used is a great place to find more items. And you can also just look at the things that you've sold in the past. So if you've sold for a while and like you did some RA and there was this expensive retail arbitrage item that was hard to find and you were able to sell a bunch and make some money, like why not take a look and see like, is that on eBay to sell? That's one thing that a good friend of mine, Josiah, did. That's how he got into it. He had a really good run with a retail arbitrage item and he saw that it was on eBay for like a couple dollars more than the retail arbitrage. So instead of driving store to store, he just bought them on eBay. You can do along with that is if you sell books, like look for the high price books on eBay to sell back on Amazon. You can oftentimes kind of double dip and get your sale the first time and then make some extra money by buying it again and then selling it again. So those are some ways that someone who wants to get into this can get their foot in the door.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Yeah, I never really, it's funny, like I obviously sold used books on Amazon, but I never really thought about other items being listed as used as well. And I guess it makes sense because I guess it's like a marketplace like eBay. What would you say, do you think, is there a big difference in the price that Amazon has it for new versus used? Like, do you find there's usually a big price difference or is it almost the same?
Yeah, there's almost always some price difference.
Okay.
Case scenario, it's maybe only 10% less. But then in like I was looking at a lead the other day, the new one is $350 and the used good was $37.
Oh,
But
geez.
just extremely drastic. You can also get into some different arbitrage opportunities with different conditions. Like on that listing, for example, it was a like an old Walkman, basically. Like the used like new is like 150.
Wow.
The used good is like 37. And then there's a prime bump too. So there's a few things that you can look into and make extra money and have some more margin when it comes to use sometimes.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty interesting to look at it that way. I mean, I guess it makes sense. But yeah, I guess like 10% on like you sell a lot of high end stuff. That 10% could be a pretty big savings for some people.
Yeah, and I mean the majority of the time it's probably 60% of the new price. Like there's usually a pretty big discount.
Okay. What are some of the pros and cons of your model versus, I guess, a traditional OA/RA seller?
Yeah, so the pros would be the fact that a lot of these people that we're sourcing from eBay sellers. They spent their Saturday at a garage sale and they found a vintage Walkman or vintage cassette player, vintage calculator, or even something that came out like a couple of years ago. And they purchased this for $5 because it was at a garage sale. And it sells for like $300 on Amazon. And they're chill because the eBay market says that you can sell it for $100 to $200. They're happy to offload it because they're making so much money off of it. So you can take the product. You don't have to go to garage sales yourself. You just pay up a little bit and you get to experience the arbitrage from eBay to Amazon instead of going to garage sale. So that's a huge perk. Another perk it's kind of the same as regular online arbitrage. A lot of these items do sell quite quickly as well. You can do this with used or new items. And so you're on the same listings. And so like sales ranks are the same. Like the stuff that I'm selling, these days I'm trying to sell stuff that like really moves, like under a month for sure. I want the stuff to sell and I'm trying to not go like super deep in them unless they're really good items. So those are some of the pros to this model. And then I would say the cons are that this is very similar to doing something like RA or thrifting or doing garage sales yourself because eBay receipts don't work for intellectual property complaints or counterfeit claims. So they don't work the same way. Like a lot of receipts, for example, if you go to TJ Maxx, they're not itemized. And so they're harder to get the IP claims off your accounts if you get claims doing this model. So this model is inherently more risky than a regular OA or wholesale.
Got
Like
it.
have permission from the brand to sell these items, like you're technically supposed to. Like I don't have a letter from them. I mean, I guess OA doesn't either, but yeah, it's a little bit more risky.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess it definitely is too. And I guess you also run the risk of the eBay seller maybe not taking the best pictures, or maybe saying it works and it really doesn't, or it gets damaged in the shipping process. So how does it work? So like let's say I bought, I don't know, like this battery charger or something.
An
So
anchor,
yeah.
that's
So
part
does,
of the label.
oh, do that? I love
I've
this.
looked. I've looked. You'll get an IP claim.
Oh, I don't love it as much now.
It's
Um,
a. I have one too actually. Where's mine? Yeah, I have mine right here.
nice.
Same one. But
So,
you buy like a charger or something.
oh, okay. So I had that, and it just comes to you probably in like a poly mailer, right? A bubble mailer. So then,
Yeah.
how does that work? Like, do you? I'm guessing you probably have to poly bag it, or do you have to put it in a box, or?
What I do actually is the last few months I've gone the even riskier amount routes and sent all my items to a prep center and just looked at the pictures and the seller and determined that they most likely tested it. And the prep center does what they do. They usually polybag it and then sticker it usually. But if I were to have it sent to my house, you can test them if you want to. You'd polybag it. If it's something that's kind of fragile, I would bubble wrap it. Something really fragile, put it in a box. It depends on the item. There's so many items out there. It like if you could just do chargers, then you could really systematize it and like have a perfect process for it. But like if you're doing chargers and like big printers and then a VCR and then all this different stuff, the process is just different per item.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. What are some of the mistakes that like you've made kind of doing this model, or maybe things you've learned, maybe the hard way?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I've made my fair share of mistakes. So kind of what we were talking about here is if you find a product that the brand is selling and basically only the brand is selling, like you look, you see that they're in the buy box, you go to the Keepa and you see that the offers tab is basically just them and maybe Amazon warehouse. If you purchase that item from eBay to sell on Amazon, you're basically listing on an Amazon listing where the brand is like, this is my listing. We don't want anyone else here. So they will likely send you an IP claim. And I had that happen twice. Basically, there was one where it looks like people were just thing on the listing and selling out quick. That's what I thought. But they're getting IP claims.
Yeah,
So
sometimes it's hard to tell, like if
yeah,
especially if there's not much activity on the listing.
yeah,
Sometimes you could see like the ups and downs, but it also, like you said, like it could some items, it's if it's a fast mover, it could be like stock issues.
yeah. And like that's an ideal situation for OA. Like if there's like 4 or 5 people on the listing and like nobody can stay in stock and you can get stock, that's amazing. So I went a little too hard on the balance of like being risky with that one. I think that one I actually just wasn't thinking of it. So I got an IP claim from that one and another similar one. So I got 2 IP claims from that mistake, which puts your account health in a harder spot. So that would be one mistake. Second mistake I did, if you're going to do eBay to Amazon, I would strongly suggest not like purchasing a printer or a docking station or something that needs a cord to be used and then just sending the unit as used acceptable. I did a lot of that because on paper it looks amazing and I'm like, well, I'm giving them a deal and I'm getting it for so cheap, like this should work. They'll read the condition note, right?
Yeah.
I said it in the description note, but no, they don't, and they'll hate you. And
Amazon doesn't care either, even if you put it in or not.
yeah,
They'll
and
sell
like
it to the customer.
In the terms of service, like you're technically allowed to do that. Like under use acceptable, it can be a unit only, but the customers just like, I mean, to be completely honest, like if I bought something for like $200 and like I wasn't able to use it because I had to buy a cord, like I'd probably be frustrated. So I don't do that anymore.
Same.
Yeah. So that is another mistake. I would try to make sure that your items are in really good condition and a customer is going to be happy when they get them. Like now that I'm saying that, that's common sense, but you know how it goes when there's money.
Yeah, when you see how much money you can make, you're kind of like, let's test this out. Like maybe no one's gonna care, and then you kind of get a little overboard, and oh, maybe the person who returned it, like the next person won't, and then you have this whole like huge problem on your hands.
And then like what happens too is like you did your test order of like 5 or 6 or whatever that were used acceptable. You see the sales coming in and like I want to stay in stock, So like I already purchased my second round by the time I'm seeing the returns. So that's what happened on a lot of these items. So yeah, very in depth on my mistakes. There were plenty. Hopefully you guys can learn from them, but I'm still here to talk about it. So that's why I'm trying to help.
What do you think are some things on the flip side you've done like really well?
From the very point that I did that office clean out, there were 2 items in particular that were really fast sellers. This item recently at that point went discontinued. It was no longer in stock. And so Amazon and retail stores were in stock on this item. And basically the price was quite low for this type of item. And so the eBay sold listings were showing a low price. So for the next several months, sellers would get this item, go to list their product, and they would see the low price of the sold item. But on Amazon, the price went up because it was discontinued.
Oh, wow.
Really hounded that listing. I've been hounding that listing for like 10, 11 months. And only now is it starting to dry up and have the gap between things slow down. So being able to find opportunities like that and like really make the most of them are a big deal. Another thing I did well is last year, I was very gun shy to using credit whatsoever. Definitely, I'm kind of a Dave Ramsey fan a little bit, but when it came to scaling Amazon, that didn't help when I had skills to like make a lot of money if I had money, but I'm just reinvesting like the little bit that I have. So I would take this lightly. Like I dipped my foot in the door with a 0% APR card in December, then got approved for other cards and then did an Amazon loan. And so that really helped me stay in stock on these items. It really helped me understand how to source better because, like with more money, like you put in more reps of sourcing. And so your sourcing just gets better and better. That opportunity and taking advantage of that in that way for a period of time. I don't intend to stay in debt forever. Kind of really working on lowering that at the moment, but
yeah, no, that's super valuable too, because Amazon is a tough business when it comes to, it sounds good on paper, like you buy something, you send it to Amazon, it sells, you get the money, and then you do it again. But that waiting time like destroys you because basically you have to wait. Probably if you buy something, it take Amazon a week or 2 to check it in. Then it's not eligible for Prime just yet. It's an FC transfer. So now you're looking at like 3 weeks before, like, what are you going to do? You would probably do like 12 shipments in the year. Like, that's crazy. Like, if it took like 3 or 4 weeks, if you just waited for the cycle to come. So you actually have to like shell out money and really get that snowball like rolling before you kind of could just like take your foot off the gas, I guess.
Yeah, just open another credit card. All right, credit card. It can get a little ridiculous at some point. Definitely a balance game. Like Amazon, like you're saying, like it's a crazy beast. Like it takes a while to have your stuff check in, and then like it's active for a while, and then like the other 2 weeks to get your money back.
And sometimes your price goes way down, and then you have to decide whether you're going to wait it out, see if it goes
Yeah,
back up.
yeah, yeah. It's a crazy time.
Yeah. So one last question: if you were starting over again today, and you had like maybe $1,000, you didn't really know anyone in the community, you weren't like Checkmate Flips, how would you get back to where you are right now?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I think getting started immediately with eBay for a short amount of time isn't a bad thing. Like get that high ROI stuff moving, learning those skills of this is how I source an item. This is how I list an item. I have my printer set up. I know how to ship an item. I know how to polybag an item. Once you get Amazon and like get your Amazon account set up, maybe I would do some books for a while and like learn that skill of like, this is what happens when I send an inventory. And like, it's normal that it takes several weeks for your items to even start selling, and just like understand that and comprehend that and normalize that for myself. And then understand that it takes a while to get your money back, and then build the belief of I'm sending in items and I'm going to be better off financially in the long run, but it's not going to happen in like a month. Like that's just not how this business works. And like just basically like building on those experience over and over and over again in different ways. And then I would probably move to online arbitrage faster. I don't think if you're connected in the community and like make friends like we both have, like we don't have to stay in eBay stuff or book stuff forever. I mean, you were doing high level books though, which is kind of different. But yeah, like I stayed with books for like 10 months. I did RA for like 6 months. Like it didn't need to be that long of a time.
Yeah.
If I had started posting on social media earlier, I would have connected with people better. People like just having John as a friend, for example, he's helped me. I've definitely hit him up in the DMs about like how do I deal with these account health issues in the past, and he's really helped me out. And there's like a lot of people like that. When you post on social media and like you show people like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm actually in the game. People and like you're trying to help them, like they'll help you out, and like it's a really it's great for both of us because like disagree, but like we both have like probably 20 people we could DM questions about, and
Oh, yeah.
like specific people to answer just specific questions
And
too.
they'll get back to us within like a half hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's just super overpowered to be able to have those connections. Like, and when you see friends who are doing really good numbers, you start to believe that that's capable for yourself. And you don't get that from just watching YouTube videos. Like I watched lots of YouTube videos in reselling when I was doing eBay and like the early part of Amazon. I even bought a few like reasonably priced courses. I learned a lot of stuff, but like the real growth comes from like rubbing shoulders with people who actually are doing it. And like you could ask them, hey, can you show me your sales? And like they actually like have the sales, they're doing it, and their mindset shifted. And your mindset shifts when you interact with people. So that's such a long answer for this, but like it's really changed my life since I started posting in like so last October. It, things just really dramatically changed.
Yeah, no, and I think that's like probably the most powerful thing you could have. Someone actually DM'd me the other day and it like kind of made me mad. They were just basically like they were talking about like how they need a discount on like a course or something. And I was like, the knowledge you don't have is costing you more than that course costs. Like you'll recoup the course that like cost in like I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, like once you buy your first batch of products. And like the biggest advantage is yeah, being able to DM someone or text someone that you know is like legit and doing big things and get your question answered. I mean, you could Google it, you could watch on YouTube, but you might not know those people are like legit, like that you're watching. There's a lot of, I do get a lot of DMs lately saying that there's like bad information out there about like how to start your account. And I've seen some really bad book content out there about like how you have to like Clorox the books. I was like, I don't know what these people are talking about. But yeah, having that network is super powerful. Well, thanks for being on the channel. I really appreciate it. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, John. I'll definitely rewatch this on YouTube. This will be fun. If you guys don't know, I do have a YouTube channel, and definitely I think John's DMs are open all the time. My DMs are open. Like, we want to help. Like, selling is hard. Like, we get it. Like, sourcing is hard. Like, we'll answer your questions. We want to help. So definitely don't be shy to reach out.
Definitely, yeah. And go check out CheckMateFlips on Instagram. He also has YouTube. That stuff will be linked below. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And check out the free resources below for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video.